All right, guys, so in this video today, I'm going to be explaining to you just like what exactly is holding you back from reaching your weight loss goals, right? Like what's actually holding you back? What is ultimately the biggest reason why you have not seen success, right? And it goes back to a call I was doing with my Laptop Pro clients that I serve on the Take Flight coaching program. And I like to come up with simple results or simple solutions to problems because oftentimes there's a simple solution to everything, right? But we just don't understand it or we can't identify it, right? We can't identify it. And it just goes back to really what I was talking to my students the other day about. The other day, I was talking to them about what's really stopping you from reaching that next level in your weight loss journey, and I went into figuring out like what that one constraint is, right? And what that one constraint is, and really doing whatever you can to move the needle towards that one thing, right? And oftentimes, a lot of people don't realize it, but what gets in the way of reaching our full potential, reaching our goals, is often like one or two things. It's often like one or two things, and we don't really realize that a lot of the times. We don't really actually like realize that it's only like one or two things, right? And so, like, okay, then you go back to your entire life and look at your entire life in like a movie form. Like, this is what I do for me, because literally today I was thinking about this. We see on social media everybody's living their best life, right? Everybody's got a six-pack of abs, so you think, right? And how I have clarity in my mind, how I have clarity that I know that I'm doing the right thing is I look back 1 year ago. Like every single year I do this, but today I did that. I look back 1 year ago and I asked myself, where was I at 1 year ago? Right? And then I was like, okay, like I've made crazy progress, right? Especially for my age, right? Crazy progress in a year. And so, yeah, I mean, it all goes down to identifying that one constraint. But the problem is that a lot of times people will be like 30, 40, and they'll just be like in limbo. They'll just be in limbo, right? And it's baffling to me because, every single year I'm going through it and I'm like, okay, what were the last 12 months, right? Sometimes you got to go back and be like, what are the last 12 months, right? Last 12 months. And why are people in this limbo, right? And it's because they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing as everybody else. This video is probably going to be uncomfortable for some people, but that's all right. It's all right because I don't solve for popularity, right? I solve for impact, right? But some of you guys have just been in limbo for years and years and years. And a big thing is that you don't even think that you're living wrong, right? A lot of people will just be like, oh, I've been 30 pounds overweight for the last 3-5 years, right? This is most of America, by the way. But oh, been doing this. I was having a conversation with a family member. Asked, how's your weight loss journey? She goes, what weight loss journey? And it's like, to me, that kind of told me everything I needed to know. It's told me that this person, gave up on life. This person, shows that they don't care about, being present to their kids, into their latter years, right? And this could go for whoever, right? This could be you right here. Like, you just kind of gave up on, being your peak self. You kind of gave up on having prime mental clarity, right? And that's okay, okay? We all make a decision, but you have to live with that decision, right? There's some people out there that have to live with the fact that their kids never looked up to them, and maybe they might not ever see their kids again because they were never that person. They were never that person that their kids needed, right? And this is reality for a lot of people, right? For a lot of parents, their kids don't come around. Why? Because they were never that person that their kids needed. And it's sad, but that's really what happens. That's really what happens to a lot of people, right? And so if you're watching this video, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent. But really, I just want to make you aware of like what reality actually looks like, right? What reality actually, like, no bullshit looks like. And the reality that people aren't going to tell you. There's a reality here that nobody lives. Nobody is actually going to tell you what true reality looks like. And what true reality looks like is things ain't going to get better unless you identify the constraint, right? Unless you identify that one thing that's going to drive you forward. And, I can just say for myself and personally, I've been in really crazy situations, like last 2-3 years, where, like traumatic situations. And then when I get back up, when I come back, people are like really like, what's going on with you? Like, they're what's the word? They're shocked that I have a very clear and non-reactive mind. And it's because I'm always focusing on that one thing, right? I'm always focusing on that one thing that's going to drive the needle for me. And a lot of times, like when people are starting a weight loss journey, they listen to what everybody else is saying on YouTube, right? They'll go on YouTube, oh, how to lose weight, oh, do keto, oh, high fat, MCT oil, oh, only do carnivore, only eat meat, right? Chicken and broccoli, right? And they're consuming all of these philosophies and they're just distracted. And that's why people don't get anywhere in life, because they're distracted listening to everybody, listen to Peggy down the street, listening to that odd comment Mike made at church last week, that really made them think, oh, wait, maybe I should be doing something else with my life, right? Or, it's just, people are just so distracted, especially in the age of information where there's so much information out there. There's so much information, telling you to do this, telling you to do that, telling you to date this person, telling you to date that person, telling you that you need to make X amount of money to feel good about yourself. And the problem is you have so many distractions that you're never identifying that one thing, right? It stops you from developing that mindset and helping you focus on that one thing that's going to move the needle forward. So, like I said, oftentimes there's only one thing that's going to drive you forward, right? One prime factor. Like, what's that prime factor for you? Like, if you have been struggling with your weight, right? And you can't ever seem to get past this weight loss plateau. You tell yourself at the same time, you're like, oh, everything's fine, like everything's fine. It's my genetics, right? And you kind of start to cope. I just want to let you know, like, if that is you, right? If you're just like, oh, it's genetics, right? It's fine. And maybe you have like 2 or 3 kids. I just want to let you know that, like, especially if you're a man, right? Especially if you're a man, like, and you have kids that like look up to you, and they're always seeing you. You never have energy, right? You never have energy to do anything. You're always tired, right? Maybe you miss your kids' soccer games or stuff like that because you're just tired, and you're overweight, right? I just want to let you know that your kids see everything you do, right? Your kids see everything you do. And if you're always tired, you never have energy to do anything, you're always eating bad food because, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe you're going through a divorce, right? Or whatever the case may be. I get it. Like, times can be tough. Things are tough, right? I've never said life was easy, but it's like you have to pick yourself up and you have to constantly be driving that one thing. And you have to constantly be identifying that one constraint that's holding you back, right? You have to constantly be identifying that one thing. And a lot of people, they just listen to what everybody else is saying. Oh, it's fine. You don't need to improve. You're fine the way you are, right? And they like the lies, right? Lies are comfortable sometimes. Lies are comfortable sometimes. And I told you that this might not be a message that is going to be all comfortable bed of roses. But like I said, I don't solve for like popularity. I don't solve for everybody to like me, right? I solve for impact, and I solve to really let you know like what's actually on my mind, right? What's actually on my mind and what's actually going to help you. Because if you internalize everything that I'm saying to you in this video, you're going to improve. You're going to improve. But it's like some people just can't ever improve because they're distracted, for one, right? They're distracted, but they're not focusing on the right things. The reason why my clients get such great results, right? My clients come into the program in like 8-12 weeks. They're like transformed, right? In 12 weeks. Sometimes it takes people years to hit their fitness goals, or they never do it, right? And that's because they're not focused on the one thing. They can't identify the constraints. And sometimes it takes you going to that coach. Sometimes it takes you swallowing your pride and leaving your ego at the door and going to that coach and, admitting that you need help, right? Admitting that there is a problem that you don't know, admitting that you might have an insight that you haven't figured out, right? And I don't want to make it seem like it's all about like information, right? Because there's tons of information out there. A lot of it is incorrect, by the way, but it's really about the coaching. It's really about the everyday grind, right? But there are probably some insights that you haven't realized yet. Like there's 100% insights that you haven't realized yet that until you actually go all in on that coach, or until you actually like swallow your pride and realizing that you need to do things differently this time around, it's like you're never going to see results, right? The only reason that I've been able to see such results year after year after year, I keep improving as an individual, like my life keeps getting better year after year after year, is because I'm always identifying the constraints, right? I'm always seeking the new insights that are going to move the needle forward, right? And if you're not constantly moving the needle forward, your life's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Think about it. Like I just said with your kids, if you're not moving the needle forward, if you're not kind of just like in limbo with life, your kids are going to look down on you. Guaranteed, right? I've seen it happen in my family, right? Or, maybe you're in a relationship or you're married and you're not improving yourself. You're constantly like, maybe you struggle with your weight, right? You don't have energy. You don't have stamina to be around for your kids or, your wife. Your wife or your husband's going to leave you. I hate to say it. Like if you're not constantly improving yourself, you're not constantly showing that you're that guy, right? If maybe you were that guy 10 years ago, but you're not that guy anymore. It's like, bro, now you're just kind of like, you just lied to your spouse, right? Because when you marry your spouse, you're making a vow that you're always going to be there every single day, right? You didn't make a vow at your wedding to be 50% 10 years later, right? You didn't make a vow to be a diminishing stock. You vowed to always be there for your spouse day after day after day after day until the day you die. Right? But a lot of people are, oh, hey, I'm this person today. And then a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 6 years later, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just kind of like fat. I'm lazy. Hey, I already got you, right? I already got you. So it's like, I have no reason to perform. Incorrect, right? That's why so many people are getting divorced. That's why so many people cheat on one another. And it's like, it's all because you didn't identify that one constraint and that one thing, right? Or you just gave up, you quit. And that's okay, because a lot of people quit. A lot of people give up. But if you're watching this video right now and you're consuming my stuff, you're consuming our content, I just want to make you aware that it's like, it's all about that one thing. It's all about that one thing that's going to move the needle. It's all about you not getting complacent. Because once you get complacent, you lose sight of that one thing. You lose sight of what's going to actually move the needle. And then what happens, your whole life crumbles, right? And so really the goal of this video is to really help you understand that you're only usually 1 or 2 constraints away from changing your life, right? From seeing that dream physique, from seeing that, from talking to someone you haven't ever talked to in a while, right? From, maybe you're estranged from one of your kids, or a friend, right? It only takes one phone call picking it up, right? It only takes one text to that coach, right? It only takes usually one move to solve everything. But a lot of people, they just have too much pride, and so they can't actually come to terms with the fact that, I need help. They can't ever come to terms to, I need to go to that coach, right? Because we just have oftentimes we have these massive egos that ever prevent us from seeing any type of results in life. And so if you're watching this video, what I really want to encourage you to do is always be looking for that one thing, for that one needle that's going to move you forward in life. And whatever that is, chase it ruthlessly. Chase it, right? You need to be constantly seeking out that one thing that's going to move the needle. And if you don't know that one thing, then go to that one mentor. Go to that person that's going to help you identify that one thing, whether that be finances, whether that be fitness related, weight loss related, whether that be relationship related. You need to fix your relationship with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend. You need to go to that mentor that's going to help you identify things. You need to go to that mentor that's going to help you see clearly, right? Because there's obviously stuff that you can't see. So that's my message for you guys today. Hope you have a good one. Always be looking to move the needle. Always be looking for that one thing that's going to propel you forward. Anyway, have a good one.